Hey, how's it going? Reece here. Today I've got a really exciting training for you. I'm going to break down exactly how we're obtaining between an 89 to a 94% sharp rate on our demo calls. Now, to give you a quick indication of what that means, we use a one call close system, which means everybody comes in, they have one call, and then they either close or they don't. Maybe we have a follow-up call in the future, but we follow the entire sales process, the entire framework on the first call. All right. So when I say a demo call, some people might refer that to that as a discovery meeting or a demo call or a sales call, whatever you want to call it. It's a one call close. Okay. So essentially, what this means is that we've got people coming. Oftentimes, they're very cold leads, and they're coming onto this call process, and a lot of them are showing up right away. The metrics that we've got for sharp rate is just ridiculously high. 94% is very, very much unheard of, and I'm going to break down exactly how we're obtaining that today, so you can incorporate that, put it into your business as well, into your agency, get more people on the call, and the more people that are actually showing up to these calls, the more money that you're going to be making. I know a lot of people get frustrated, when they book a call and then people don't show up. I'm going to break down today exactly how to minimize the amount of people that are dropping off so you can get more show-ups to your calls. So let's go ahead, let's go through it together, and again, I'm going to give you the whole thing today. So we'll start out with some metrics really quickly. So out of the last 454 calls, we've had 49 no-shows, which is an 89.21% sharp rate for like just the initial sharp, right? Now we've had 22 people out of this total reschedule, and all of these people showed up. So what that means is this bumps our sharp rate to 94.06%. Because to be frank with you, if somebody reschedules, that doesn't mean that they didn't no-show. It just means that they needed to reschedule. It's not a big deal. So our sharp rate is 94.06%. If you only want to include the top metric, you can do that. It's 89%, still incredibly high. And out of, again, this number, 454, we've had 72 calls that we cancelled, and they were mostly disqualified. So there were a couple of those there that they cancelled themselves because they just realized that it wasn't a good fit once they got to the confirmation page, which I'll tell you about later. But either way, most of them we disqualified for budget disqualification purposes, and that means that we've had a 16.52% cancellation rate from here. Okay. So let's go ahead and keep moving. I just wanted to give you the metrics so you know kind of what we're aiming for. Okay, now as some prerequisite information, just some little things I want to go over really quickly, and then I'll get into the juice of that. But you will realize very quickly that everything ties together. Everything here is interconnected, and that's actually the first point, is that client acquisition is an entire system. A lot of people just want to focus on the one thing, but if they focus on one thing as opposed to everything, they miss the interconnections, and they will be missing the entire picture. We do have to look at the whole thing as this big entire system, just like the environment, the ecosystem, or the nervous system, whatever else. There's so many different parts associated. We can't only look at one thing. So if you only look at what happens once somebody books, you're missing the point. If you're only thinking once they book, what happens then, you're missing the point entirely, because there's so many different interconnected points that come before that if you don't think about these different sections and you only think about what happens after, it's such a small segment compared to the entire sales process. Okay, so you need to look at the different points. Now I'm going to focus on everything today. Again, I'm going to give you everything, the whole everything. So you're going to get the bits that you need before, and you're going to get the bits after. You're going to get everything. But you need to understand that everything is interconnected. Where you find your leads impacts your show-up rate. Where you book them in from impacts your show-up rate. How you qualify them impacts your show-up rate. So does how you warm them up before the call. And also the information available about you online also impacts your show-up rate. If you go ahead and you give somebody a cold call, you send them a cold email, and they book in with you, and then they go and search your name and nothing comes up, do you think they're going to be eager to attend that meeting? Probably not. And the thing is, it's really, really easy to get some information about you online. It's not difficult. And just a lot of people aren't doing it. They're not building a brand around their agency. I'm going to keep that for another video, but understand, there's so many videos that I put out about building your brand, but you have to understand right now that all of these different factors impact your show-up rate, not just what happens after they book the meeting itself. Okay, Now, to give a couple examples, Alex Hormozi claims to have an almost 100% show-up rate, and I believe him. I mean, considering what we've achieved, we've got a lot less volume than he has, but I do believe him. And the reason I say that is he's given so much value to this space that why would anybody dare to miss out on a call with him? It doesn't make a lot of sense, you know? It's like you've achieved so much from his content already just by watching him and picking up so much value that he's built so much goodwill with you, and you're just thinking to yourself that firstly you feel like you owe him to show up to the call, like you don't want to waste his time, and second, you're wondering just how much value you're going to get from that private call. You know, if you could get all of this value from his generalized books and video course online, then what kind of value are you going to get when you're actually speaking to him or a member of his team on a call? It's going to be entirely different, right? It's going to be even more impactful. And that's what's going through the mind, okay? And this, again, relates to the idea about how much value you're putting out into the market, how much information about you is available online, and again, everything that happens before somebody even books. Like, his sharp rate is this high because of what happens before somebody books the call, primarily speaking. Of course, the stuff that comes later, but primarily speaking, it's going to be the stuff that happens before. It's that goodwill that's being built up. Secondly, understand that the colder the lead you have, typically the lower sharp rate you have. And this isn't a hard truth, but it does apply across the board in all industries. And the reason that I bring this up is because these different things that you've got here are all about warming up your leads. And the colder they are, the less time they spend with you, and the colder they are in general, the more likely they're going to not show, right? If you're really close with somebody, of course they're going to attend, or they're more likely to attend that meeting unless something really goes wrong. And that's what I mean here, is the colder that somebody is, the less likely they are to show up. Not necessarily a bad thing, but that should get your mind twisted in terms of, okay, how can I make sure that people are warm by the time they're getting on the call with me? Now, understand that it's not just your sharp rate that gets impacted. How you find your leads, which is like the quality of your lead or the quality of the data, how you approach them, etc., all impact not just your sharp rate, but your close rate, your pay in full rate, and all of these different metrics that you might be looking at from a sales perspective. So you got to realize again, and the last time I'm going to say this, everything is interconnected. If you only focus on one thing, you're going to be missing the other stuff, and sometimes it's the other stuff that really matters more. Okay? Now, also, targeting solopreneurs and B2C is where you're more likely to run into a lot of sharp rate issues. You might think that the more successful somebody is, you know, the more busy they are, and the less likely they're going to show up, but this isn't true. It's usually the more successful, and I'll put that in quotations, the more successful business owners that will attend those calls than the newer ones. And what I mean by that, again, is, it's easier to get the more successful people than it is to get the earlier, people that are just getting started. And that's because the higher level people, again, quote unquote, higher level, more successful people, they're the ones that take their decisions and their time seriously. They wouldn't go ahead and book in a call with you and set out the time and put it in their calendar if they didn't plan on attending. You know, they make that decision, yes, I'll attend this call, I'll put it in the calendar, and because it's in the calendar, because they made the decision, they will act on it and they will attend the call. So the higher level somebody is, generally speaking, the easier it's actually to get them on the call. A lot of these people often are going to include their business partners and different people and factoring into that decision and that scheduling. So they've got more accountability as well, so they're even less likely to not show. So it's really, really a simple point that basically the more successful people you're working with, the more likely they are to attend. Now, this all said, these metrics that I'm going over here, I mean, we work with, service-based businesses, primarily agencies. So a lot of them, it's almost B2C. They are businesses, but a lot of them is B2C because of just the level they're at. And that's why even the metrics that we've got is even more impressive, to be honest with you. Because these people, a lot of them are B2C and they're still showing up. A lot of them have other things that, we're going to be talking about later, different reasons that people won't show. But the point is, people show up, okay? And lastly, understand, I touched on this before, but reschedules are not no-shows. If somebody says, if they said, hey Reece, I can't make 2 p.m., can we do 6 p.m. instead? This is fine. It shows that they're respectful enough to let you know that something has come up and they need to be flexible. And in those situations, you can be also. Now, I have in the past, I could think of a couple situations in my early days where somebody didn't show up and then kind of messaged me and, said let's reschedule, and then we had another call and then they didn't show up, and then And then I just got annoyed about that. But looking back, I mean, we had a great conversation before. It's just that they no-showed maybe once or twice, and then I completely wrote them off. Try not to burn bridges with people. You know, if you want to cancel a call with these, this is like a little bonus point, but if you want to cancel a call with people, and I'll really get into the sharp rate stuff in a second, I just really got to put this out there. If you want to cancel with somebody or somebody cancels with you, don't just don't burn the bridge with them, because they may have a chance to come up later, okay? Just keep it easy, keep it casual, keep it friendly, keep it polite, and be respectful, and understand that sometimes people have to reschedule, and sometimes people realize it's not a fit and they have to cancel, and that's okay. That shouldn't frustrate us. We can just go and get somebody else booked in the same slot. All right, and in 99% of cases, just go with the reschedule on a time that suits. And the 1% is, if this is the only time that you'll be able to speak for weeks, you know, the time that they want to cancel, if it's the only time that they'll be able to speak, or that you'll be able to speak, being the two of you, then of course, you know, try and push it in a little bit harder. If they say I need to reschedule, just be like, oh, like, how comes, or did something come up, or, you know, just so we're on the same page, what makes you say you got to reschedule? And then you can go ahead and you can potentially handle that and just let them know, look, this is going to be the last time we can speak, so if we can, let's try and squeeze in today, and then you can go ahead and maybe make that work. But generally speaking, and again in 99% of all cases, just take the reschedule. There's no reason not to. I'm going to throw one last bonus point here. You need to make sure that your availability is good enough. And what I mean by that is, when I was working my 9 to 5, it wasn't quite 9 to 5, sometimes it was like 7 till 7, it was almost 12-hour shifts. So what I would do is I would come home in the evening, and then I would be doing outreach to people in America, because people in America would be available in my evenings, but people here in Europe, in the UK and in the rest of Europe, would not be available. So my first few clients were actually based in the US, and again, what I would do is, when I would get home from work, and let's just say that's anywhere from sometimes as early as 5 to as late as 6, 7 p.m., by the time that I had got home, they would be available to speak with me. So my availability made sense. So sometimes if you're in that situation where you're a student or you're working a job and you're only available in your evenings, then just make your time zone work for you. Just look back. If you're available in your evenings, look at what other countries are going to be available in your evenings and make sure that that's available. But the point is, the people that you're speaking with, you want to make sure that they have times available that's going to work for them. Because if they don't have times available and they've got to try and pick a time that they think they might be able to make, then it's highly likely that they're not going to be able to actually make it in actuality. So just try and make sure that your availability is as open as possible. Again, if you're based in Europe and you're available in the evening, target the US. If you're in the US and you're available in the evening, then I guess that's or you're whatever it is, then just have a look at the time zones, work it out, and see whatever makes most sense for you. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's get into the bulk of sharp rate optimization. So a quick overview of our booking system. We'll have a conversation with somebody. Maybe it's over social media. Typically it's over social media, sometimes cold email, sometimes other sources, and from there they will go ahead, you know, even on YouTube for example, and there will be a link, and they will go ahead, they will land on our landing page. On our landing page we have a VSL. The VSL is a video sales letter, which is typically just a video that's made in a sales format, meaning that it's structured and it has a point to it and has a call to action. So essentially what that initial VSL looks like is it gives a very brief overview of the offer and focuses on the promise, the benefit, etc. We don't go into too much detail of what the offer itself entails, but we focus mostly on the promise and the benefits. After the overview, we also speak a little bit about our client results, which is a bit of social proof, and then we give a call to action to book in a call, and we set the expectations of what that call is about. I tell them that it's a demo call. We're going to ask you some questions. You can ask us some questions. There's no obligation for you to join. We're only going to make an offer to you if we feel like it's the right fit because of the guarantees that we have in place. We're not going to offer this to everybody. And then typically speaking, they will like that. They'll go ahead, they'll book in the call, and they'll understand that, hey, this is a partnership, and we're only going to offer to you if we truly believe that we can actually help you grow your agency. So people watch the VSL, then they'll go ahead, they'll book in the call. So then there's the calendar. And again, with the calendar, we ask, there's a form with questions. So they go ahead and they fill out this form. and then they go ahead and book in the call. Obviously, they pick out a time here, and they go ahead, they book in the call. Once the call is booked, a series of things happen. So firstly, they are automatically redirected to a call confirmation page. On the call confirmation page, there's one more video, it's a call confirmation video, and this again gives a quick overview of the offer, the client results, and the call expectations. Right now, we've got the same video on the VSL, and then pretty much the same video on the call confirmation page. The only difference is here we talk about book the call, and here we talk about show up to the call. So there's a little bit of a difference, but it's pretty much the same structure. Then we also, on that page, not only are the client results on the video itself, but they're also on the page. So you just scroll below the video. There's a written call expectation. So it's a little message from me. It says, I'm looking forward to speaking with you, and prompts you to go ahead and make sure that you're attending the call in a quiet place and on a computer, just in case we need a screen share or something like that. And I say exactly what it's going to be like, draw out the expectations, and then people can go ahead and attend from there. Once they scroll further, then they've got the client results, and then underneath there's my links to my social media accounts, like my YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And the reason that I have those is because those are the ones I'm most active on in kind of that order. And we want to make sure that people have a chance to basically just be nurtured further by looking more at my social media and looking for my content before they attend the call. Especially if they were cold, we want to show them that, hey, I've got a lot of content, I know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of social proof out there, and just make sure that they know who I am, and they know what they're kind of getting into. I'm not just like some sketchy person that started yesterday, but I've been in the space since 2017, so basically putting that out there. Now, if it's different for you, if you're just getting started, don't worry about that. I'm going to talk more about it later, how you can quickly get yourself out there and get yourself online. I'm just going through an overview to start with, okay? And after all of that, after the call confirmation page, automatically we've got some call confirmation reminders that go out. We use Go High Level, by the way, to host this entire system. The call confirmations, essentially we have an automatic confirmation. I'm going to show you what all of this looks like later. So we have an automatic confirmation, and then an automatic and manual reminders both get set out. We also have retargeting ads, although these are paused right now. So if you go try and find them, they're currently paused. But typically speaking, we have retargeting ads running. And that's just to basically just keep us top of mind, always on people's mind. So when they're thinking about need to grow agency, they can think of me, and they can think of Agency Surge, which is my business, and they can think, hey, let's go ahead and work with Agency Surge. And that's the idea, okay? So that's where the retargeting ads come in, just to stay top of mind. And we've also got the email list, which is not only to stay top of mind, but to continue adding value, to continue nurturing people, warming them up. And we now and again, very, very, very rarely, but now and again, I will send out a direct message, which is more of a direct pitch, to my email list as well. So again, this is the overview. Let's go into this in more detail. I did say that this is going to be a long video. We're going to go into a lot today, but hopefully you're getting value already. Appreciate you sticking through if you've been here. 18 minutes in already, but let's go through the pre-booking sequence. So first things first, we have a CRM. This is important, but a lot of people overdo it. So essentially what we do is we use Airtable. Airtable is, it feels wrong to compare it to Google Sheets, but it's got a similar kind of structure to Google Sheets. It's just kind of data management on steroids, really, is probably the best way to put it. So we use Airtable for pretty much everything, but we also have Go High Level tracking the booked call. So when somebody books a call, Go High Level is tracking it, and the Go High Level sends that data to Airtable. And we also use Airtable for a standard CRM if somebody is engaged. And I'm going to explain what that means in a second. So we use Airtable. We keep track of the different stages, so we know where people are at in terms of if they've booked the call, if they need to reschedule. There's reschedule and reschedule pending. So reschedule pending is when they're like, hey, I need to reschedule, but they don't reschedule yet, so we'll put them there. And then reschedule is when they have rescheduled, and we'll put them there. Likewise, if they cancelled, if they no-showed, if we need to follow up with them, if we need to move them to the next stage, all of these different things. And we've got a cold list and a hot list. The cold lists are just the standard follow-ups, everybody's there. And then the hot list, the people that we've had a call with within the past 7 to 14 days, they're the hottest leads, and we can follow up them with a little bit more intent within that 7 to 14 day period. So that's how we're kind of tracking people in the CRM. And in terms of who we're tracking, we're only tracking engaged leads, not all cold leads. Now, back when I first started, every single lead that I outreach to, I would put into the CRM. And back then we were using Pipedrive, which was just a headache. It was so unnecessary. And essentially what I found is it just takes too much time. It doesn't really make sense to track people that are not engaged, and you want to focus more on using your outreach to find people that have a problem that you can solve, or have at least a base level interest in connecting with you, and then putting them in the CRM and following up with them short to long term. You don't want to track every single person that you call. Now, there are caveats to that. When we do cold emailing, it's tracked, but technically we don't do anything to track it. We have our sheet of leads, and the only thing that I do is I'll go in and I'll say, it will be blank, or I will say upload it to instantly, and then that allows me to know whether or not we've uploaded them to instantly and they're in a campaign. If it says uploaded, then I obviously won't upload them to another campaign in the future unless there's another reason that I decide to do so. But typically speaking, if they're uploaded, I'll skip them, go down, and it's upload the rest, and then once they've uploaded, then it says uploaded, and then I won't upload them again. Hope that makes sense. So we do have that to make sure that we're managing our leads correctly, but I'm not tracking those leads. With cold calling, we'll write down, again, it's the same thing. So we will make a note if we did do the cold call and we're at on the cold call process, but we're not like adding them to a whole different CRM and doing all of this complicated stuff. We're not doing any of that. We're only tracking the leads that are engaged. Okay, examples of engaged mean people that you're getting responses on cold. So if somebody goes ahead and responds to our cold email, automatically that information is brought into our Slack, so we're notified about it. It's also automatically sent to Go High Level, and that's when they're added to the CRM under the stage of responded to cold email. And then from there we can go ahead, we can sort out the people that responded positively, negatively, neutrally, and then based on where they are in the structure. So like the CRM works extraordinarily well and make sure that nobody slips through the cracks, and something we're always keeping track of the leads at all times. So responses, that was cold email. Likewise, if we cold call somebody and they say, hey, give me a call back on Tuesday next week, then we'll add them to the CRM. Or if they just say, hey, business owner's not here, again, give a call back, then we'll do that. If we have I don't know why I typed a regular interaction here. I really don't know what that means. But essentially, I do. If somebody is regularly interacting with our content, then we may add them to the CRM. So for example, if we put out a piece of training, full transparency, just like this type of training, where it's like, here's how to get a 95% show up rate or a 94% show up rate, comment down below show up rate and we'll send it over. That we call a two-step. So we send the training to you. I now know that you have a show up rate issue, so I put you into the CRM, and I may reach out to you in the future to help you implement the stuff that I'm talking about today. So full transparency, that may or may not happen, but you're probably now in a CRM because you asked for this video. It's just how the game goes. Not everybody in the CRM we're going to reach out to. Some people we don't, some people we do, so it is what it is. But the point is, if somebody's regularly showing interest in your content, and just like I established right there, if somebody has put their hand up and said, I have a show up rate issue, then if that's something that we solve, why would we not put them in the CRM? And likewise for you, let's say you help e-com brands. If you put out loads of content about, how to improve your ad creatives, and that's something you really focus on, and you get the same people commenting and liking, why wouldn't you add them to your CRM? Why wouldn't you be having conversations with them to get them on a call? It wouldn't make sense, because they're saying, I'm interested in this topic, tell me more, and then you can go ahead, you can talk with them and see whether or not it makes sense to offer them a call and see if you can help them further. So that's how we use a CRM, okay? Now, it was really important for me to walk you through that, because if you don't have the CRM, then nothing else matters, because you're not able to keep track of things, you're not able to follow up with people, you're not able to do the reschedules, and you're probably not actually having good conversations or relationships being built with the people that you're communicating with, okay? Now, again, second stage of pre-book, these aren't really numbered, but like just the other stage to talk about, I guess, is nurture. Now, again, warmer leads are less likely to be no-shows. if someone knows, likes, and trusts you as a leader, they're less likely to be a no-show because they actually want to speak with you. Part of this is in time. So you're thinking about it, the amount of time that somebody's spending with you, and that could be physically in person, it could be virtually online, watching your videos, reading your content, whatever it may be. In social dynamics, in the idea of sociality, is that a word? Socializing, pretty much. It's said that somebody needs an average of 7+ hours to be able to know, like, and trust you enough. Or between 8 to 12 touch points is something that comes up a lot in sales psychology, in order to trust you enough to buy. So I kind of look at this in, like, I average this out and just think, okay, how can I have somebody spend on average 7 hours with me? A video content is a great way to do that. Or how can I have them go through at least 8 to 12 touch points with me before they get on a call? That's how I'd like to think about it. But again, it's an average. Some people need a lot less, some people need a lot more. I've had people see a Facebook ad from me completely cold, book in a call for the same or the next day, and then purchase right there on the spot. And that's basically 3 touch points, maybe a little bit more if you include the confirmations, but they were super cold, they bought and end up doing super well. So it's like a lot of people are super decisive. Again, those higher level people are typically very decisive, and they'll go ahead and get started. I spoke about availability before. If you ever have somebody book in a call for the same day, attend that call, then they're really, really likely to buy. And those are generally the easiest kind of sales calls to go through, to be totally transparent with you. So, you know, try and get those in, and make sure that you attend those, have those availability open. But again, some people need less touch points, some people need more. So just think to yourself, how can I get more touch points? Just don't overdo it. Don't be needy. And when somebody books in, don't start calling them 20 times before the initial call. Like, don't overdo it, but just wonder, how can I have more touch points? And again, I'm going to tell you exactly the touch points that we use ourselves. Next topic, social media outreach. So as long as, excuse me, if you're doing outreach on social media, if you're having real and genuine conversations with people, and like you're really trying to build a relationship, you're really trying to help them, instinctively and naturally, your sharp rate will naturally increase because there's that relationship being built. Again, the warmer somebody is, the more likely they are to attend. So you want to get them warmed up as much as possible, and having a one-on-one personal conversation is going to be one of the best ways to do that. And I'll tell you a little bit later about it, just in a second, in fact, when it comes to cold calling, cold emails, how that looks like. But with social media, just don't try and just tick people through. And what I mean by that is just generally provide value and care for people that you're speaking with. So once they've booked in, for example, just show a little bit of interest. If I'm having a conversation with you and you book in a call, I may show a little bit more interest and be like, well, how are you spending your day? Or, you know, what plans do you have for the weekend or something like that. And it goes a long way. And when I do it, it's very natural for me. It's very respectful for me. I don't feel like I'm respecting people if I have a conversation with somebody, get them booked in, and then just automatically be like, okay, here's some resources and I'll see you on Tuesday. Like, it's not natural. If we've had a conversation, we've had a great conversation together, and you've been opening up and telling me about your life, and I've been sharing back and telling me about my life, and by bonus, it made sense that I could offer you a call and help you out, and here we are, and I've booked in, then why would I just end the conversation there? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, you know, I would just ask people generally, like, how's the rest of your day? What are you spending, you know, what are you doing? How are you spending your weekend? You know, whatever makes the most sense, and just kind of throw that out there. Basically, you just want to make people feel understood. You want to respect people, make them feel understood and respected, and not just like they're another number. And remember, the more that they feel they've got a relationship with you, the more that they'll want to attend the call, the less likely they'll want to disappoint you by not showing up, and the more likely they want to just get as much data and value from you as possible. Now, with cold emails and cold calls, again, we track any type of interest. If somebody's, and we add them to the CRM so we can follow up them regardless of what happens. If somebody says follow up in 2 weeks, we'll go ahead, we'll add them on social media and potentially give them a call. And if somebody says call back on Tuesday, we'll add them on social media and give them a call. The call that I'm talking about is if you're doing cold calls. So if you're doing cold calls, you do both. If you're doing cold email, add them on social media, and then follow up with them on email or social media, depending what makes most sense. We add them on socials, and when we do, typically this will lead to some type of conversation, and then we'll go ahead and that follow-up generally will come down from 2 weeks to a 1 week, because now we're speaking, now it makes sense. Well, hey, look, we're talking already, why don't we just get this booked in, and then we'll get them booked in. Again, increasing that know, like, trust factor and building that rapport between them and getting them more likely to want to have a call with us. The general rule, the more buy-in from them, the more warmed up, the better they're going to be, and the more likely they are to attend. The more that they've put into this conversation and relationship, the more likely they are to want to attend that call also. Now, with the landing page, we've realized that video sales letter generally perform written sales letters, so you can probably tell the difference between those. One's primarily a video and one's a whole lot of written text. You know, a lot of agencies have loads of written stuff with graphics and pictures and all of these fancy things. But we've just realized and found time and time again that VSLs perform better than written sales letters. So typically it makes more sense to just have a simple landing page with a video instead of having a whole written page out. The caveat is not giving too much information away. We're not trying to tell them too much about the offer right now. This time right now is for selling them on the call, and later we can sell them on the offer itself. So right now we're just getting them to book in the call and show up to the call. Later when we're on the call itself, then we can sell them on the offer if it makes sense to do so. So again, on the video, on the landing page and the video sales letter, we just want to give a high level overview, focusing on who you help, what you do and help them achieve, maybe how you help them a little bit, but mostly the results that you've previously achieved as well. We want to focus mostly on the what you do, not how you do it. So you sell them on the benefits, and then later when they go on a call with you, if they want more details, you can go and break down the how, and how the specifics would look for their specific situation. You want to focus on building out the value proposition, focusing on the benefits, and why they should want to speak with you in the first place. Why should they want to? What are the benefits of speaking with you? Focus on that. Build authority. Show off your past results if you have them, or if you don't, just focus on the knowledge that you've got and show how you would help them in the form of what you would be doing. Okay, not again focusing on too much details. You find the caveat, you find the bit that makes the most sense, giving them an overview, not going into too much detail. If I see you talking about CPM, CPCs, landing page ranks, and all of these different things, you've overdone it way too far. You need to pull that back and realize that you're selling the benefit. You're selling extra sales, extra appointments, an increased show-up rate, an increased sales rate, or whatever it may be. That's what you're selling to them. You're selling them more time, more convenience, more appreciation from their family because they can spend more time with them because they're not focused on growing their business. These are the things that you're selling people, okay? You're focusing on the benefits and value, not the specifics of we'll help you decrease your CPM by 50% so you can do this and that. Too much, all right? Focus on the benefits. Yeah, basically go over why is it beneficial for them to hear my story and hear what I've got to say, and why should they listen to me on the call in the first place. This is going to be massive because it's going to set your call up in the right place, so when they get there, they're already respectful of you. They're like, I know you, I know what you've achieved, I respect who you are, let's have a great conversation. And of course, how can they trust what I have to say and what I advise them on? When people show up to the call with you, you need them to come and look at you as a trusted advisor, somebody that's there to help them first and foremost beyond anything else. So how can they trust you? How can they listen to what you have to say and the advice that you give them? All right. And then lastly, on your sales calls, call them demo calls rather. Don't call them sales calls, anything like that. Demo calls, discovery calls, things like that are totally fine. All right. When somebody has booked with you, so this is stuff that happens before, that was the pre-booking stuff. When somebody books with you, but before the call, there are a few things that's going to happen. Firstly, you're going to send them automatically to a call confirmation page. On there, you want to congratulate them, high energy, congratulate them. I'm so excited to see that you booked a call with me today. Go over the core expectations, go over the results, repeat the benefits one more time, the high level overview of the offer of who you help, how you're helping them in terms of what you're achieving for them, not the specifics, but what you're helping them achieve. Results that you've helped people achieve in the past, and your social media links. I touched on that before, so I just quickly run over it quickly now. Call confirmations and reminders. I'm not going to read this out because that would be boring for both you and I, but these are the emails that we send. So we have an initial confirmation email and SMS. This sends out immediately when somebody books in. This is the email. You can just stop and read it. I will tell you the most important thing here is that we have the link to Zoom and we have an expectation. This here, please make sure to watch the video on this page before the call. This will send them to the call confirmation page. So this here, this page would usually be blue and underlined, and they would go ahead and they would click here, and then they would land on the call confirmation page, and then it would go through all of this for them. All right. This here, you can kind of read that in your own time, but again, we're focusing on the benefits. That sends out immediately. We also have the SMS send out immediately, which is just the details for, for the meeting. They can go ahead, they can kind of click here and they can add it to their calendar as well. Now the day before the appointment, so this is 24 hours before, we send out this email, which again is pretty much the same email, it says this is a reminder, not a confirmation. So this is the reminder. Again, Zoom link, we send them to this page again, the call confirmation page, and then that's it. And the day of the appointment, 6 hours before, we send them this email, which again has the same things. It has the link to Zoom, and it has the link to the call confirmation page again. And then we also send them a manual message. Now, a lot of people don't do this. A lot of people would automate and send an automated SMS at the same time that they do this, or they would do it an hour before or something along those lines. But again, I do a manual message because I like to keep that relationship natural and make this real. So I will go ahead and I'll message somebody myself, me personally. I don't have a setter do this. I mean, we've had setters in the past and I had setters. I don't have setters right now. I'm doing it myself because it's really simple and the way that I'm breaking it down to you today. So primarily I do it myself. In terms of the manual messages, I will go ahead and I'll send them a message, and I will just send them a message. I'll say, hey name, just checking you received the link for a Zoom call later today. Don't be lazy, send them a manual message, show that you genuinely care instead of just relying on some automation. And don't ask if they're still good. Don't say, hey name, are you still good to talk for our call today? Or hey name, just checking 2 p.m. is still okay for you. Like, don't do that, because you're giving them an easy way to not attend the call. You're giving them an easy way out. If you had the setter book the call, you can add some more to it. So you can add a little bit more detail to this. Get the setter to add some more. Or if you had a cold call setter, so if somebody was doing setting for you, and then they did the setting, they booked it on your calendar, so you're going to be attending the sales call, then you can go ahead and you should reach out to the person that you're attending and give them a little bit more of a manual message. Hey name, saw that Jack booked us in for you and I to speak today at 2 p.m. Really excited, looking forward to speaking with you. Had a quick check over on your website, and yeah, I'm looking forward to our conversation later today. Just wanted to make sure that you got the Zoom link. Not too much, giving a little bit of value, telling them, hey, I'm excited, a little bit more personalization, and just letting them know that you're real. But quite frankly, if you booked it via cold calling in the way that I just said with a setter, in cold calling, forget that. Cold calling in general and cold email, you need to have all of the points that I'm talking about right now. You need to have the call confirmation page, you need to have the emails, and with the emails you need to get them on this page by really any means necessary, because they need to be more nurtured, especially if you've had a setter book. They have no idea who you are, they've never heard of you, your business, anything. You need to have them nurtured more than just them speaking with a setter and the setter booking on your calendar. You need more nurturing going on, okay? And that's where all of this all comes into play. And again, the system, everything is interconnected. If you have a setter book the call, but then you have a setter book the call, but they're attending a call with you, well, they don't know who you are. They may know, like, and trust the setter, and through that, they partially may know, like, and trust you, but it's not strong enough yet. So you need to have these steps in place to make that happen, okay? Hope that all makes sense. But again, just do this manually. It just takes a couple minutes in the morning, depending on how many calls you're having that day. Just quickly manual message everyone. If you had a great conversation with somebody on social media, Then, you know, you message them and just say, hey name, just checking that you had the link for our Zoom call later today. Or you ask them, hey man, how was the football match on the weekend? Also just checking that you got the link for our call. So just be natural. Like, there's no rules to this. It's just the guidelines and the frameworks that I'm giving you, okay? But be yourself and show your personality when you're speaking with people. At the time of the call, it's going to get to the time, you're going to load up Zoom or whatever you use, and you're going to be sitting there ready to take the call. And if they don't join, just wait. Don't start freaking out in your head, thinking, oh, where are they? Don't get emotional. Just wait. Use the time to meditate. Use the time to go back through your sales process. Have a look at your objection handling. Have a look at your fingers. Just meditate and just twiddle your thumbs for a little bit. Don't start scrolling social media. Just wait for 5 minutes. Be present. Be quiet. And just chill, okay? Just relax. And give them 5 minutes. If they don't show up, call them. Give them a call. Say, hey John, it's Reece from Agency Search here. I'm on Zoom right now for our call. Did you need me to resend the link? Don't do the, you know, is it still good to speak now? Are you still available? Just say, do you need me to send over the link? My tonality could be better, by the way, but just do this. Do the call. Make the call. Make it happen. If they sound skeptical, if you say, do you need me to send the link? They're like, yeah, go on then. Be like, well, look, John, is now a good time to connect? I'll be like, yeah. Are you sure? Be like, yeah. Like 100%. Just send the link and I'll hop in. Then send it, then they're cool. If they just say, if you say, do you need me to send a link? They're like, oh, mate, so glad that you called. You know, unfortunately, I had to quickly go pick up my kid from school. Can we speak tomorrow instead? Then just reschedule them. Again, like, just give them a chance. Be like, yeah, no problem. We can block that in. Just to confirm, is that 2 p.m. like going to be okay? Is there any reason you won't be able to attend that 2 p.m. slot tomorrow? And they'll be like, no, that 2 p.m. is totally fine. I really apologize. He was sick. I had to go pick him up. Whatever. If they make it real is what I'm trying to communicate. If they make it real, if they make it genuine, then just go ahead and reschedule. Not a big deal. Get them rescheduled. Give them at least one more chance to show up to the call. If they say here, like, you know what, man, I need to cancel, then you can ask them why. Be like, okay, no problem at all. Just wondering, like, what is it that makes you say that you wanted to cancel the call? And then realize what their concern is, what if their objection is, and if it makes sense, go ahead and handle it. If it doesn't, just be like, okay, cool, fair enough, mate. Look, we can go our separate ways, and maybe our bridges will cross in the future. Again, just don't burn the bridge. Just keep it cool, keep it chill. All right. Now, lastly, post-book, which is rescheduling no-shows. As I mentioned a couple times, just have the mindset that, or I didn't mention this yet, but have the mindset that they missed out and they're going to be upset that they missed out. Have the mindset that they really wanted to attend the call, but for whatever reason, something came up and they suddenly weren't able to. Their kid got sick, there's a little issue in the business that they got to fix, they've got a customer complaint to handle, or their car broke down. Just anticipate that they really want to attend and was unable to, because your energy is then going to come across to them like they should have been there, but in a nice way. It's like it would have provided value for you showing up, but you're not there, that type of thing. Okay, so don't get emotional that you spent time preparing for the call. Just anticipate that something potentially serious came up for them. This is going to have the energy where you care and you're being a little bit more helpful, and you're like, are you okay? As opposed to, what happened, man? I was waiting for you. You know, there's a big difference between the two. So you want to come with that energy of caring about them. So as like a standard message, just say like, hey name, looks like something may have gone wrong. So this is the first approach. Hey name, looks like something may have gone wrong with our system. We had a call booked in for yesterday, but I guess you didn't receive the info. Apologies. I have the same time available on Thursday, if that also works for you. And then you can go ahead and just pop that across, right? If they confirmed with you on the day but didn't attend, or if you had quite a relationship built up and you're just like, what, I really thought this person was going to attend, we had such a great chat, then you can always just tune it down and be like, hey name, looks like something may have came up yesterday, hope you're okay. this will generally incite them to respond and be like, hey, in my case, hey Reece, yeah, sorry man, I've really had to just help this client with something urgently. Can we book in for Thursday at 4? And then you can go ahead and book that in, or you can prompt that to them as well. If they respond like, yeah, sorry man, got sick, be like, oh, no worries, I hope you're feeling better today. And they say yeah, and you'll be like, great, let's get this booked in on Thursday. I can do the same time, and then you can go ahead and schedule that in. That's it. This is all we do. Quick recap: we have all of the things that come before they book, which is all of the nurturing, all of the relationship building, all of the information that you can find about me online. There's a lot of it. We have all of that stuff going on. When they see that, they go ahead and they book in with me, because now they know, like, and trust me. They know that what we do works because of all of the hundreds of testimonials that we've got and all of the results that we've got online. They know that what we do works. So they go ahead, they land on the call booking page, they watch the VSL, typically speaking. They'll watch the VSL. Some people don't, they just book in, but they'll watch the VSL, they'll book in, they'll see our student results, they'll go to the call confirmation page, they'll see another video that sets the expectations of the call, goes over the promises again if they need it, goes over some more results, goes over my social media accounts so they can go ahead and they can join our free course and they can watch more YouTube content, whatever it may be. Then they get all of the confirmations, including the automated and the manual ones. They get added to the CRM, so if they don't show, we re-follow up. If they need a reschedule, we get that checked in. They keep getting referred back to the call confirmation page, so we keep giving them several chances to attend that. We also add them to the email list and everything else that I've spoken about today. And by doing all of that, that is how we've able to obtain basically a 94% sharp rate. Okay? Really, really good metrics that we've got. If your close rate is anywhere near as half as good, then you're going to have a lot of clients coming in, especially if you have a good process of booking calls. So if you've watched this video and you've got a lot of value, this is where the call to action comes in. If you've got a lot of value and you'd like some more help, either helping me actually coming in and helping you drastically change your sharp rate and get this jumped up. I've seen people as low as 50, so hopefully you're not as low as that, but if you are, we can help you. And if you're not booking anywhere near as many calls where your sharp rate even really matters, and you would like my one-on-one help with that, go ahead, book in a call with me. If you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a video down below that will take you to the call booking page, so you can go ahead and you can follow this entire process that I've just shared with you today. So if you do want my help, click the link down below. If you're watching this on Facebook, just send me a message, let me know. And if you want my help, you can get it. If not, hopefully you've been able to get some value today. That's always my goals with these tradings. That's why typically they go on really long. I would like to cut them back, but there's just so much out there that I need to get across to you. And hopefully I was able to do that today. So if you've got any questions, just comment them down below. I'll help you out. But aside from that, I'll see you in the next trading. And yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed this one. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one.